Oh, and down he goes! Right hand, left hand, and I don't think he's going to get up. I think it's all over. I think it's over. Is he going to get up? Can he get up? Can he get up? He does. Oh my goodness! Somehow Fury has managed to get up.
Big thanks to Wow Hydrate, who've sponsored the podcast. They've provided me and the lads with some of their protein and vitamin waters, along with electrolyte drinks, which are the best on the market. Thanks for your continued support. We really appreciate it.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Brawl Boxing Podcast. I'm Kieran McCourt, and I'm joined by co-hosts Colin McGuigan and Ryan McLaughlin.
So, guys, we're delighted to have this next guest on. We've been really looking forward to this one. We've been meaning to do it for a while, but he's a busy man. So please welcome on Harlem Eubank. Harlem, how you doing, mate?
Hey, yeah, good, thanks. How are you, mate?
Yeah, all good. Good to have you on the show, mate. We're really looking forward to it.
Good to finally be here. We've been speaking about it for a minute. So, yeah, good to finally
Colin puts everyone in Harlem, so if he's been keeping you waiting, it's his fault.
Listen, there's a waiting list for Boxing Rule podcast.
Harlem, I'm surprised Colin hasn't tried to be your agent yet. Everyone else in that Jimmy's tempting it.
Listen, I'm trying to recruit him.
We're talking about it at the moment. You've just ruined it, Ryan.
Oh, yeah. We're giving a specific little comment, for the listeners, so they know. Obviously, we give them wee insight. Do you know what I mean? A little
exactly. Yeah. No, the worst part is I think Harlem is like half joking there. Coco's serious.
Mick's highly recommended Colin after his Instagram takeovers.
To be fair, I even said you've done a really good job. You do a better job for him than you do for Brawl Boxing, but actually, it's sorry.
Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's not talk about it. It's not about me. It's about Harlem.
Humble guy. So, Harlem, where are you? Did you say you're in Brighton at the minute?
Yeah, just in Brighton.
Is that's where you're from, isn't it?
Yeah, from Brighton. So I live here, stay here, and then travel up to the gym in Surrey, Red Hill.
Harlem, always wondered, obviously, because your surname, was it always just going to be you were going to be a boxer as soon as you could literally walk?
Yeah, I don't think so. I tried to stay away from it because I always felt like it's already been done to a high level and would be hard to replicate. So I always tried to do something else. I was always sporty, but I always tried to direct it into like different avenues through karate as a little kid and then football growing up. And I thought football, I was very passionate about football and played for like a professional club and was training every day pretty much as a kid and doing the, getting my 10,000 hours in, doing the outside little drills and stuff. But when I got to 18, I was kind of like, I just fell out of love with it. And then I had that kind of urge to get into combat. And boxing was the most kind of realistic form because you do things like karate as a kid and it's not necessarily full contact. But as soon as you walk into a boxing gym, like you're in there getting punched in the face. There's no soft entry into it, which I kind of liked in a way. And always wanted to try and find a way to make it easier.
You say you were 18 when you started?
Yeah, 18 pretty much. I dipped my foot in when I was 14, but because I was playing football at the time, I didn't take it seriously. So I completely left it, after a couple months of training, and then obviously went back to it at 18 and kind of applied myself from there.
What football team were you at?
Brighton Hove Albion.
No way, were you?
Yeah. So I was there from under 12s to under 16s. Mm-hmm. So I played with a few of the players that are in the squad now. So eventually it might pull back around to get in a fight at the Amex.
Are we going to see the first boxer who wins a world title and then goes and plays in the Premier League for Brighton?
Never say never.
Imagine that.
Who did you play with in the first team at Brighton, Harlem?
So I was at like a lot of the guys. A lot of the time we train with like say you're under 16s or whatever. You'd go and train one day a week in the youth team, So like the under 18s or whatever. So, or under 19s, is it? So you'd go in for like one day and train with everyone there. So I trained with like Lewis Dunk, that's there now. And after I left Brighton at 16, I went to Lewis for 2 years, played there when I was playing with Sully March, who's a serious player there now. So he got signed by Brighton while he was at Lewis, but he'd actually been back and forth from Brighton. Like the first day I was on trial at Brighton as a kid, under 12s, he was also on trial, but because he was small then, they didn't take him on. And then by the time he was 18, he just grew physically, and obviously you have all that skill from being small, and now he's an animal.
I know you said there about at the beginning you maybe didn't want to get into boxing because it was going to be hard to replicate. I know your dad was a professional boxer as well, wasn't he? And then you obviously got your uncle Chris, who done unbelievable things in boxing. So for you, was it something like you just never really had thought that you'd be able to reach those levels, and you always wanted to be successful? Is that it?
Yeah, it was kind of a thing like I just didn't necessarily see a way into it, or it didn't seem like something realistic for me. Although I love combat, it was more kind of combat was more of a hobby, I guess. I never thought I'd do it as a career, but it, when at 18, it really kind of took hold of me, and I was like, I'm going to, if I'm going to do this, I want to take it seriously. I don't just want to do it as a hobby,
Did you have people sort of like, because of your second name, maybe in school, chancing their arm like, oh fuck, I want to have a Eubank on my record? Do you know what I mean? offering you each for a scrap.
I didn't get it too much. I think because like I was quite like I didn't really get my growth spurt until I was in college. So in school, I was still kind of like 5 foot nothing, but I was just like really good at football. So I was like, school captain or whatever, at like 5 foot, just doing my thing, like very sporty. So I think the football kind of kept me away from that side of things, because I was never really going out. Like when you start going out as a kid on a Friday night after school, like I could never do that because I always had a game on a Saturday and it was at a high level. So you can't just go out and turn up because you'll be booted out. So I always had that focus where it was like, I'm training 3 times a week in the evenings, and then I've got a game on a Saturday. So I never really had I never really had that social interaction that most kids get from like the drinking and stuff from an early age. I always had that focus and that kind of regiment schedule, which I guess kind of prepares you for boxing.
Yeah, that's the same as Ryan, to be fair. I mean, Ryan, I think he's had about 3 nights out his whole life. That's not even because of football. His girlfriend doesn't let him go out.
It's actually true.
Two reasons why he can't go out.
No, Jordan, it's the real reason. It's just like too much photos and all selfies. Like,
yeah, you get hassled everywhere you go.
Right now, so Harlem, see, like now, do you think back and do you ever miss the football, or are you sort of like, no, I've made the right decision, like I love boxing, like that's where I sort of stand?
Yeah, I definitely don't miss it. Like, I love a 5-a-side here and there, but I definitely, I'm definitely certain that boxing was the path I was meant to take. And I do like a kick around here and there, but boxing is something different. Like in football, there's a lot of factors on whether you perform, and there's 11 guys on the pitch, and you could, like, a lot of the time it varies on who's doing what, and that there's not that in boxing. It all rides on you. Mm-hmm. And I like that because it really, one, it makes you prepare harder because everything rides on what you've done. And there's no excuses come, or this person should have done this. It's all kind of I should have done this. And this is what I'll do next time. So I like having that. Everything rides on you rather than being able to shift blame and it's just a clearer cut sport.
Yeah,
Ryan's looking to make the switch over. Now, he's been talking about it for about a year and a half now. He wants to fight Tyrone McKenna in his debut.
I've called out Tyrone. I've called out Speg. Who else have I called out?
Now, do you know why he's struggling to actually get these fights, Harlem? Because he has it in the clause that he only does the ring walk. He wants to come out to all of the lights, Kel Brook, and then just sort of step out of the ring, and then that's it over.
Do you know what though? Another big thing as well is my missus won't let me go if there's ring girls as well. So
Jennifer's getting.
Sounds like she's got you on the leash.
No, if she won't listen to this, so that's how I know.
She'll be walking you out.
Harlem, as Ryan said, she won't listen to this. She doesn't give a fuck about him.
This is so bad.
Harlem, whenever you're 18, then how do you end up getting into the boxing ring? How do you end up at Adam Booth's gym? Talk to us about that kind of series of events.
Yeah, so when I was 18, I went down to the boxing gym. At this point, I was getting closer to my cousin Seb, like through the boxing and stuff. So we started at a similar time. We went down Brighton and Hove ABC, and it was kind of like in my mind, I was already like, I'm doing this to eventually turn professional. So I wasn't really passionate about like amateur boxing. I was just really trying to take the path where I can become a professional fighter. So went down to Hove ABC and tried to get on the first in the first competition I could. They see a little bit of natural ability, and I was just like, I want to get going ASAP. So had Scott Welch down there, who's ex-British Commonwealth champion, and a lot of good guys down there, Coach Anthony Brown. And I just, I wanted to get in as many competitions as quickly as I can, because I knew I'm 18 years old. I know professional boxing is a young man's sport, so there was no hanging around. So I started at 18 and turned professional at 22 with 33 fights. I think one year I even had like 13 fights, and a lot of them were in like competition level. So it was like a crash course for me that I needed to gain experience to eventually turn professional.
And what were the nerves like of obviously you said you had 33 fights as an amateur. What was the difference in nerves for your pro debut?
I think definitely better. I think every time you fight, you get used to the process of fighting. So there's always nerves, but you learn how to kind of deal with them. Obviously, the professional ranks is a little bit different because you've got more people, more noise, and more riding on it. So, but no, I think for my debut, I had my debut here in Brighton at the Hilton Hotel, and the nerves didn't really play a factor. It was over within 1.5 rounds or something like that, and on to the next.
How influential were your cousin Chris and Seb that you touched on there? Obviously, you started out with Sebastian in your amateur career, but how influential were they then coming into your professional career?
Very influential. I mean, Chris kind of made it seem possible. Like I was saying with Senior, like you watch the fights back, but you see like the theatre involved in the height of the fights with him and like Nigel Benn, and it's obviously great to see, but it doesn't really give you necessarily a route of, okay, how can I get into boxing, and how would I get to a stage where I can potentially, achieve those heights. So it's kind of like you see it, but there's not necessarily like a clear way into it. Obviously, when Chris Jr. was starting, then I could see a way in, because I was seeing his work ethic, seeing the training he was doing, and then watching his fights on Channel 5 at the time. So he made it seem, possible in that sense to actually, go for it. And and turn the hobby of combat into a career. With Seb, we actually kind of like, he inspired me all throughout, because we obviously got into it together. We trained together, eat together, was in a similar mind frame with everything. So we was kind of like on a mission together. Whereas Chris was already there. Me and Seb were like, you know, on the up and coming together.
Did you ever feel like you were playing catch up at all? Like, because you started so late at 18, like, was it so difficult, sort of, because obviously you're going to be sparring, training with people, fighting against amateurs even that have been obviously boxing since they could walk?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, I knew when I started I'd be at a disadvantage, like starting at 18. One, as soon as you start boxing, like when you're started at 5 years old, the punches coming, like, they're not the same as when you're starting at 18 and you're in there with seniors. So that's something you got to deal with in terms of everything coming at you from the start is going to be heavier, and you know you're in more danger when you first start, and you haven't got the skills to know how to avoid punches and evade everything that's coming at you. So there's that component, and like, obviously the experienced kids and amateurs always see my name and it looks like a golden opportunity, you know, because I haven't got that experience, but I've got the name of a, you know, anytime world champion. So it's it was always more pressure and like a crash course of, I need to get the skills and then turn over, but I need to be with people I can learn from as well, you know. So that's why it's so good to be in the gym with guys like Mick, Josh, Abbas, even Kurt now, because they've got that amateur experience. So I've been soaking it up from them and learning my trade, being in the gym with them.
And being with Adam as well, like, how did that come about? Was Adam prepared to take you on straight away, or did he sort of want to see something from you? How does it work?
So when Chris was with Adam, I went up to spar. Well, I went up to train with Chris, kind of take a little bit insight from Adam as well. Actually, the first day I went to the gym, Seb sent me a message like, Adam's in the gym with Chris today. So that day I went down to the gym. I think they were doing like pads in the ring in the Brighton gym, and I was on the bag just working a combination, and then Adam came over after and was like, you know, adjust your hook, like throw the combination like this, and just said work on that, like just work on this 3-punch combination. So I drilled that in, and then the next time Chris went to spar up at Adam's gym, I would go up there and I would spar other people that, like, so Chris's sparring partner would bring like another kid for me to spar. So sparred a few times, and then when kind of filtered out from the gym, I would spar. I think he had, who else did he have? So I would spar like when Mitchell Smith was up there and he had another welterweight, I would go up and spar them. Then I kind of went away from Adam's gym for a little bit, had my pro debut. And then after the debut, Adam messaged me about the fight, said, you know, good performance. He was like, I've got Josh Kelly up here now for sparring. If you know, if you want to come up for some sparring, some training. So I was like, yeah, sure. And then after that, went up to spar Josh and stayed up there since then.
Yeah, that's unreal. There's no better gym you could be in as well. Like we always said, like Adam, I've thought even since like first watching Adam, like in the sort of David Hay days and stuff, right up to now, what he done with like Burnett and Kelly and like Mick and all these guys, like it's unbelievable. And the atmosphere in the gym as well, like everyone we have had on who's been from that gym says like number one, the camaraderie among the boxers, and number two, he trains you like fucking no one else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a great atmosphere.
And then you go in and train in my booth, and then it's like, oh right, this is really
yeah. It really gives you a structure and awareness of what type of fitness you need to grow into a champion, to grow into a 12-round fighter, and that's you need, that kind of serious approach if you're looking to progress to the heights of boxing.
Sorry, I just want to touch on something that about you personally that people who are listening might not know. I'd known it, and then I tried to go for dinner with you, and it was like trying to get out of Alcatraz, so it was an absolute disaster. He remembers it well, but no, I just want to touch on it. Like, so you're a plant-based athlete, which there isn't many of. Well, I don't know anyone else other than you. Tell us a bit about that.
There was a million straight after Game Changer came out on Netflix. They tried it for a week and then they couldn't do it anymore.
Oh yeah. I think after seeing that, I'm pretty sure there was another. Wait, I forgot what it's called. There was a Netflix one about kind of like showing people some of the health effects of meat or something. Yeah. And literally 3 or 4 of the boys in the gym at the time, I think it was like Burnett, Josh, and a few others, were like watched it and was like in a hypnotized and was like, I'm not eating meat again. And they like stayed away from it for like a week, and then they were in Nando's the next day.
So how did you end up becoming plant-based, Harlem? And is it tough for you to keep it going, like trying to make weight and stuff?
Do you know what? I think it's easier. Like being plant-based, you just feel a lot less clogged up. Like I feel like your organs and stuff just run a lot smoother. Personally, for me, and making weight, you can always eat more being plant-based. Like when you're eating organic plant-based food, it's a lot lighter, so you can always eat bigger portions. So when it comes to making weight and stuff, it's just a case of not over indulging on the portions, and it's easy enough. But I started getting into kind of health, and my awareness just started to grow when I was like 18, and I was learning more about like alkaline nutrition and certain diets that were more favorable for health. And it was kind of the case of like, in terms of what you can affect in the world, like you can only really have an impact on yourself, and then that spreads out and there's a butterfly effect from that. But it's all well and good, telling people this is the way to eat, or this is the way to do something, or this is favorable to health. But if you can actually implement it yourself, and then people will either see if it's working or if it's not working, and then make their judgment from that. So I always was learning about nutrition from 18 onwards, and then at 22 there was that 4-year period I was cutting things out and finding things that I like to eat and changing different parts of my diet. Then at 22 I was just like, let's cut out the chocolate and turn fully plant-based.
Nah, how do you do that? Like,
so what it is, it's the effort of taking the meals. I think the effort of all, like creating it all. But obviously once you get into a routine and you know what to do, then obviously it's a lot easier. But at the start, I tried it with my brother for a week. I was just like, it was absolutely like tragic. It was tragic. Like, I was just eating apples and pears near the end because I couldn't be bothered. So it was like, when you don't know what you can have, it's pretty restricting, because there's like, it's hard to put meals together. Mm-hmm. I think if you're going to do it, you need to eat out a little bit first, get an idea of what meals you can have, and then recreate stuff. But if you're going from nothing, or from eating everything to plant-based, it's going to be tough. Like, I done a fitness challenge before in the past, and the thing was, like, if I didn't beat a certain time on this fitness challenge, it was like a salt bike, treadmill, and like burpees. But it was like a whole cycle of how so many calories on the thing. And the guy was like, if you don't beat a certain time, you have to eat chicken, and if you do, then I'll go vegan for a week. So
I smashed the time and made this guy go vegan for a week, and he was eating like apples and peanut butter and lettuce. And, yeah, but you just have no, like, for me, it just seems crazy because there's so much to eat. But if you haven't done it, or if you haven't like cushioned your entry into it and tested things out, then it's a whole different dimension, isn't it?
I completely disagree with Harlem here, because me and Harlem were going to all these different restaurants and it was an absolute disaster. Everyone was knocking us back. Actually, we sat down in one restaurant. I think Kurt actually had a prawn cracker in the restaurant. He already ate one. And then the girl said they didn't have any vegan meal. And we had to get up. We ended up in Nando's.
None of them restaurants where it looked any good, though, let's be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
What would be your equivalent of like a cheat meal?
Like, I mean, to be honest, like,
Wagon
I reckon if I wasn't like plant-based, like I'm the type of, I love my chocolate and sweet food. So as a kid, I used to get them, the family size Galaxy bars, but like they used to do a 2-pack. It was like a 2-pack for £2 or something, like on offer. I used to polish them in like one sitting. So the thing is, now I have to find vegan chocolate, but none of the shops, you can't get it at any shop. So it's like, it limits like you being able to eat like a savage. So it's actually pretty handy. But yeah, still vegan chocolate's my cheat meal, I reckon. And what else? Like vegan burgers and stuff like that. But obviously they're healthier than normal burgers a lot of the time, so it's less of a cheat.
Yeah, that would still be like, like the worst meal you could think of would be like my healthiest meal.
That's what I mean. Like, I remember my brother was like, "No, you can't eat that." And I'd be like, "What?" And I was like, "It's only a packet of Watsits."
Harlem, but before we let you go, you've got a big fight coming up, 14th of May. It's going to be the next step towards hopefully a British title fight, is it, after this then?
Yeah, I think soon after, the British has got my name on it.
So what are we going to expect? What is it, 14th of May against Meister Dodd?
Yeah, 13th of May, Friday the 13th. So it's going to be an unlucky night for someone. For him. It's the next step. It's the next step on the path up the rankings, heading to the top. Is that on
the Josh Kelly undercard?
Yeah, there's Linus and Denzel for the British, and then Josh in a comeback fight, and me vs Dodd underneath that. So it's gonna be a big night of fights.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be a busy night for Adam as well, then.
Yeah, we're running back and forth.
Would you see when you're like getting yourself up for like a big fight, Harlem? Do you feel like, so for example, you obviously seen Mick with like Lee Wood, etc. Like, would you feel like you want to have that little bit of venom, in like the press conferences, like seeing him around the hotel maybe before it, or do you feel like no, you're just chilled? Like, because you seem like a really chilled, relaxed guy. That's like, then you go in the ring and obviously that goes out the window.
Yeah, I think it's what the other personality brings out of you, like how you rub up against whoever you're opposing. But I think it's different for each thing. I can imagine when I get to that world title level, then that kind of that rage and that the intensity is going to be different. Mm-hmm. So I think different fights bring out different sides of you and different opponents. So I think it's just this Sean Doddie's he's coming across as a nice guy, so you can't really, it's hard to spark anything too much up against him, but it's just about bringing that spite on the night and showing people that you got that venom when you're in the ring, and that's what I'm going to bring May 13th.
Yeah. See this sitting there as Ryan said that, I was like, this Harlem is literally the smiliest guy I've ever seen in my life. He's going to be battering someone in about 4 weeks' time. Yeah. Like a smile on his face, just chilled out.
You gotta have that switch. In the ring, it's different for people. Outside, I'm just a normal guy. I'm a happy guy. but
Harlem,
ring, it's going to inflict pain on someone.
Before we let you go, I want you to tell the funny story that we had from Mick's press conference on the podcast. You know exactly which one I'm talking about, but I'm gonna let you maybe tell it.
Which
about
one?
the guy came over to interview you. Harlem smiling away as usual,
Oh, okay,
laughing.
Yeah.
So this guy comes over. Do you want me to tell her? Or do you want to tell?
You tell it.
So Harlem's getting interviewed. This guy actually comes over. He taps Harlem on the shoulder and says, "Look, I'm a big fan. Do you mind if I interview you for my YouTube channel?" I'm near sure that this guy might be listening, so apologies if you are. We found it hilarious, but it was I think it's for like a decent enough size YouTube channel, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got a decent following. He's
like a big enough name. This guy.
You watch me
Anyways,
here, Colin, because we don't know podcast.
It's all love. He knows all about it. But he came over and he was like, "The Harlem, like I want to interview you. I want to get your thoughts on Conlon Wood, blah blah blah." So he's talking about Harlem's career. Then I thought the interview was over. Harlem's just smiling away like he is right now. And the guy then walks away and comes back and says, "Would you mind if I showed you a video of me getting knocked out?" And I like looked around and was like this guy does not look as if he's ever boxed in his life, right? Like,
I said, don't show me videos of you getting knocked out.
Harlem turns around and says, nah, don't show anyone those videos, bro. And Harlem is being dead serious, you know. He's saying like, no, don't show anyone those videos. But the guy's like, you know, laughing away and all, thinks like this is hilarious. So he like goes to get the video and Harlem's like, "No, bro, like I don't want to see you getting knocked out. Don't show anyone." Now, it actually gets way worse. So then he's like, no, you have to see this. I get knocked out by Kell Brook. He's like, Harlem like looks at him. He's like, "Bro, you don't need to be showing people this." So he literally gets up this video. It's on YouTube. So I think, is it actually out on YouTube, Harlem?
I think so.
I haven't private.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't remember. It might have been like a private one. So Harlem's laughing away, and this guy literally gets sparked out by Kell Brook in the video. Like it's ridiculous. You'd never imagine this guy's actually in the ring with Kell Brook to begin with. I don't know how it happened, but apparently he just goes around gyms and looks to get knocked out. So
he might be like a boxing cook who just
Hey, tell him, when's this story get good?
Wow. He's done me dirty like that. He's done me so dirty there.
Punchline.
Yeah. He's waiting for the punchline. Honestly, hilarious. So, no pun intended on the punchline. It was the best.
That's why Harlem didn't want to tell it.
I'll let Colin take the heat.
Look, he's texting me. You better edit that
out.
So funny, honestly. It was so good at the time. So maybe it was good. Translate into the pod. But,
I actually did enjoy it. Ryan's just being a wanker.
No, I did. I was laughing along.
Yeah. Ryan's abolished from the pod. Well, look, Harlem, thanks so much for giving your time. We really appreciate it. We can't wait to see you do the business on the 13th.
Good to see you guys.
So really appreciate it, and we'll get you on again soon when hopefully you're the British champ down the line.
To call that white girl problem, better back in autumn. Every gift I try to get her, she already got them. Messing with